This is the movie where one guy refuses to be broken, even when the whole system is built to break him. And it's not just a prison movie, it's one of the greatest movies ever made about spirit. Welcome to 2K Flick Fix, where I recommend the best movies made before 2000 that still hit hard today. Today's Flick Fix, Cool Hand Luke. I'm going to touch on some points without hopefully giving away too much storyline. This film is from 1967 and stars Paul Newman, who plays Luke Jackson, a man sentenced to a rural prison camp after a small act of destruction. Punishment isn't really the story. The story is what Luke does once he gets there. He doesn't walk in with muscle. He walks in with something worse for the system, a quiet, stubborn refusal to submit. And as the prison tries harder and harder to force him into line, Luke starts turning into something bigger than just one inmate. He becomes an idea. This movie still works today because it isn't really about prison bars. It's about being trapped inside any system. And then you meet somebody who refuses to play along. That's Luke. Here's why I recommend Cool Hand Luke so hard. Whether you admire him, fear him, or think he's crazy, you can't look away. Most movies want you to hate one villain. The villain is the system itself, the routines, the humiliation, the power games, the constant pressure to break a man down until he's easy to manage. The prison camp becomes its own world. Not just a place, a machine built to process people. But Cool Hand Luke is smarter. Some people see Luke as a hero, a troublemaker, self-destructive. Luke becomes the guy who won't break, and the more they punish him, the more the other inmates start watching him like he's proof that freedom can exist in your head, even when your body is trapped. He's unforgettable. It has some of the greatest supporting male character actors of that generation, and the supporting cast is stacked, including Harry Dean Stanton, Dennis Hopper, Wayne Rogers, Clifton James, J.D. Cannon, Joe Don Baker, Ralph Waite, and more. Even Don Pierce, an ex-con who spent 2 years on a chain gang and who wrote the novel the movie is based on, plays an inmate named Sailor. Of course, there is Strother Martin as Captain, who delivers one of the most famous lines in movie history. What we've got here is a failure to communicate. But the standout is George Kennedy as Dragline, the top dog of the camp. He starts off as Luke's rival and ends up being something way more complicated than that. George Kennedy won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for this role, and Paul Newman was nominated for Best Actor. Then there is the egg scene. It's funny, it's ridiculous, but it's also the perfect Luke moment because it's not about the eggs, it's about Luke stepping up to a challenge instead of backing away. Here's some great pieces of behind-the-scenes trivia. An interesting note. While 200 hard-boiled eggs were prepared for the scene, rumors have Newman eating all 200 during filming, when in fact, he only consumed 8 and immediately vomited them into a trash can when the director yelled, "Cut." Brilliant filming angles and editing gave a convincing illusion of mass consumption. Even though the movie feels like the Deep South, it was filmed mainly in California's San Joaquin River Delta region. The prison camp set was based on photos and measurements from a real Florida road prison, which explains why everything feels so authentic, like the heat itself is part of the punishment. Morgan Woodward, Boss Godfrey, remained in character during breaks. Between scenes, he would sit in his chair in mirrored sunglasses and not speak to anyone. Stuart Rosenberg wanted the cast to internalize life on a chain gang and banned the presence of wives on set. Even Joy Harmon, Lucille, was kept away from the cast. She stayed in a hotel all alone for 2 days and shot her car wash scene with just director Rosenberg and minimal crew. Harmon didn't realize how suggestive the scene in which the men watch her wash her car was until she saw it in the theater. "I just figured it was washing the car. I've always been naive and innocent," she said. "I was acting and not trying to be sexy. Maybe that's why the scene played so well. After seeing it at the premiere, I was a bit embarrassed." The studio demanded to see Newman's blue eyes. The studio drove cinematographer Conrad insane that he wasn't showcasing Newman's famous eyeballs enough. He had to shoot a scene 4 times before shooting Newman correctly. In the road tarring sequence, the actors actually blacktopped a mile-long stretch of highway for the county. Don Pierce didn't think Paul Newman was right for the part. Pierce thought Newman was so cute looking. He was too scrawny. He wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes on the road. And this movie isn't just a classic because people say so. In 2005, the Library of Congress selected Cool Hand Luke for preservation in the National Film Registry, officially recognizing it as culturally and historically significant. If you've never seen Cool Hand Luke, don't expect a typical prison escape movie. Expect a movie that's funny, brutal, iconic, and somehow inspiring without ever trying too hard. Paul Newman is electric, George Kennedy is unforgettable, and the whole thing feels like the ultimate battle between a human spirit and a system that cannot tolerate one. If you like what you've just watched, like, subscribe, and tell me, what flick would you like me to recommend for the next fix? Rediscover great movies. Fix your watch list. Welcome to 2K Flick Fix.